Hi, welcome to my channel, KTB IOM. Today I wanted to do something that I've been thinking about for a few weeks regarding the brace height on the bows. So I bought my SMG about a year ago now, and the first thing that I noticed about this SMG was that the brace height was very low. Compared to my JMG, you can see here that the brace height on the SMG is about an inch lower than on the JMG, and both these bows are almost the same length. They're in Korean terms they're jangun, which is a long bow, and they're about 51.5 inches long, nock to nock. But in terms of string length, whereas the JMG has a string length of about 120 centimeters, just over, the SMG came with a string which is about 123 centimeters long. This string is about as long as the string on my 53-inch Black Shadow and Majesty. So the longer the string, the shorter the brace height. But the other thing that made me think was that the longer the string, also the longer the draw. So for that, I was going to test both bows in terms of poundage and draw length up to 32 inches and see what difference there is. And then I'm going to swap the strings over between each bow and then see what effect that has on poundage and draw strength. My gut instinct is that the longer string gives you a longer draw, and for the same aperture of the bow between both knock points, as the bow collapses, the longer the string, the longer the draw. And the shorter the string, for the same poundage, the shorter the draw. So for me, the draw is a factor of the length of the string to an extent, as well as the aperture of the bow. And at a certain poundage, if you could change the strings on the same bow and plot both curves, I think you will end up with the same poundage at different points on the draw length. So on a longer string, the slope of the curve would be a bit gentler, but on a shorter string the curve would be steeper as it gets to the same poundage in a shorter draw length. So let's do some testing on the poundage. Oh, the other thing is, when I tested both these bows last summer, they both came out at 58 pounds. The JMG is 40 pounds rated, came out at 32 inches, 58 pounds, and the SMG is supposed to be 45 pounds, but it also at 32 inches came out at 58 pounds. And I think that is because this string is longer, and at 32 inches it's not producing the same poundage that it should do with a shorter string. So we'll just test that now. So first of all, let's check the brace height with the original string. So doing it how the Koreans do it, from the bottom of the jumtong onto the bow itself, this is coming in at 4 and oh, what's this in? Let's see if you can see that. So it's just under 5 inches. It's like about 4 3/4 inches, just over. That's 3/4, so quarter, and then another mark. So what's that? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 sixteenths. In centimeters, it's coming out at 12 12.13 centimeters, more or less. In comparison, let me just the JMG comes in at 6 1/16 of an inch, just over 6 inches, and in centimeters about 15.4 centimeters. So it's quite a noticeable difference between the two. Right, let's do poundage now. Poundage check on the SMG, 32 inches from the back of the bow. Oh, error. Try again. That's come out at 56.88, so about the same as last time. I think I had 58 pounds more or less. Let me try once more. Yeah, about 57.46 this time. So yeah, it's about the 58 mark. Poundage check with the JMG. Showing us 56.10. Let's try again. This time the hold weight showing us the hold weight is showing as 57.78 and a peak of 60, so again very similar in the 58 kind of bracket. So now I'm going to swap the strings on the bows and take another poundage measurement and see what happens. So this is the JMG string. Okay. The brown serving is the SMG string. So let's get the JMG string, top and bottom, so to the top. Oh, a bit tricky this one. Yeah, bow straight. So that's the SMG with the JMG string, and now let's string up the JMG with the SMG string. Straight. So yeah, so immediately the situation is reversed. The JMG now has the shorter brace height, and the SMG has the higher brace height. So let's measure them now. Brace height on the SMG is now 6 inches exactly. In centimeters, 15.1 centimeter. And the JMG, the brace height is 5 and 1/8 of an inch, and in centimeters it's about 12.9, just under 13 centimeters. So let's try the seeing how much poundage the JMG has now at 32 inches. Notice the aperture of the bow as well. It should be a lot more relaxed than before. Try again. So it's coming at 55 pounds for the same draw length. Let's try the SMG. The SMG, I'm expecting now the poundage will go up. Because we have a shorter string. And the aperture of the bow should be different to previous. So let's test. Let's come in at 60. So there's about a 2 pound gain just from, and an inch brace height just from changing the string. I'm going to take a few shots now with both bows just to see what they feel like. So yeah, it's not quite as conclusive as I wanted it to be, but I think it kind of illustrates the point that, you know, both of these bows, for all intents and purposes, are the same length, different poundage, but they actually, because of the length of the strings, SMG having a longer string, the JMG having a shorter string by about an inch and a bit, I think is yeah, JMG is about 120 centimeters, the SMG is about 122, 123, so it's about an inch in difference, and that inch difference in the string creates a difference in the brace height by about an inch, and that means that when I draw both of these bows to 32 inches, they both show more or less at 58 pounds, even though the SMG should be 5 pounds heavier per marked weight. When I've swapped the strings over, the SMG poundage has gone up to about 60, and the JMG poundage went down to about 56. So it looks like there's a 2 pound swing in poundage, just because of the length of the string. And I think that in terms of, you know, what is the max draw for these bows, in theory, the max draw for a Korean bow is basically the length of the arrow recommended for that bow. So in Korea, you don't buy a bow and then find an arrow to match. In Korea, you find the length of your arrow, and the length of your arrow is based on the from the center of your chest to the middle joint, sorry, the first joint on your middle finger. So it should be to about there. That should be the point of the arrow, should be to about that joint. So in terms of, for me, this represents the perfect arrow length for me with a point. And this one I think is about 34 inches long. These are 32 shafts and they've got 200 grain points. So from the center of my chest, extended to my finger. So yeah, they're about almost right. So this is about correct arrow length for me in Korean terms. And this is the arrows I'm using for these bows. Both bows, like I said, are long bows in Korean terms, jangun, and the recommended arrow is 2Ja 7 Chi, I think, and that comes out to about 32 inches. However, the length of the string will affect what poundage you're going to be pulling at that distance, because again, it's trigonometry, isn't it? So the longer the string, the longer you can pull something. The shorter the string, the shorter the distance. For the same shape of the triangle, the longer the string on one end, the longer your draw will be. So I think this gives you potential for fine-tuning the bow, because each bow delivers the poundage in a certain way, and if you can match the poundage that you want at the correct draw length for you, and you can fine-tune it by using a slightly longer or shorter string, you know, I think that that's quite a useful thing to know. So yeah, so that's, yeah. Ideally, I would need to do a full draw curve with more sophisticated equipment, because my bow scale seems to be quite finicky, doesn't quite give me the right results all the time. So I might need to get another one. But yeah, I think until you do a full draw curve with different strings, with the same bow, you know, you might not know, you know, what string best suits each bow, you know, for each person. But yeah, I mean, this is a substantial difference in brace heights, and all the Korean bows that I have, you know, each I've assembled them in brace height order, and there's a whole spectrum of them. From one end, the SMG, and on the other end, I've got the Black Shadow, which has like the biggest brace height of them all. I'll put a little table on just showing you what my bow's brace height are, and from that, you know, I think you know the actual draw length that you can get out of each bow very much depends on, you know, how long your string is. But in Korean archery, you should always achieve manjack. You should pull the arrow as far as possible until it's touching, resting on your, you can feel the joint on your thumb. You should be full stretch, and that's your full draw for your bow. If you're not getting maximum poundage there, maybe you can change it with a string. If you find that you start to stack before you get to full draw, again, maybe a longer string might help, you know, give you that extra ½ inch or inch that you need to get to full draw without the stack. So I think there's different factors to consider. And like I said, Korean bows are recommended on arrow size. So you find your arrow size, and then you find the bow that best suits your arrow size. If your bow is too short, you won't be able to draw it fully. You'll stack before you get to full draw. If your bow is too long, you probably won't have enough poundage at full draw to give you the best performance. And Korean bows are designed for manjack, full draw position. So thank you for watching. Leave me any comments if you have any questions, and see you next time. Bye bye.